Hello everyone, I'm Liliana Śmiech, Vice President of Warsaw Institute, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to today's very special event, 3Cs Partnership, Slovenia's and Romania's Perspective on 3Cs Initiative. We are honored today to host Dr. Damir Josipovic, a researcher at the Institute of Ethnic Studies. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
And Katalin Gabriel-Don, a Vice President and expert at the Experts for Security and Global Affairs Association. Hello, thank you for your today's participation.
Hello, good evening.
So today's event is the first one in the 3Cs partnerships in 2023. So it is definitely a special event. Also last year we hosted experts from Poland, Croatia, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Bulgaria, Hungary, and Austria in the studio. But this is also the first time where we hosting experts from Slovenia and Romania. So this is very, very special one. Last year it was a very dynamic year also in the context of 3Cs Initiative. 3Cs Initiative's member states have granted Ukraine participating partner status to the group during the summit in Riga. But not to waste much of your time. So from Slovenia's perspective, I can see two dimensions to this cooperation. Firstly, the possibility of strengthening Euro-Atlantic relations in the context of increased Chinese involvement in the region. But also, secondly, 3Cs Initiative has economic significance, I guess, in the context of infrastructure investment. So, Damir, the main goal of 3Cs Initiative is to strengthen the relations between Central Eastern European countries, but also to ensure the bigger cohesion with the Western structures. So, how implementing these goals is understood by Slovenia? What do you think?
Thank you. This initiative is not that present in the public debate as, for example, others similar forums or more regionally oriented position of Slovenia, for example, Brdo Brioni, southeastern Europe. But also Slovenia has some relations with the Visegrad group. But this initiative is much more, it's wider, and it offers some new possibilities. Before, for example, Slovenia was interested with the Visegrad group more or less because of the accession to the EU. And on the other hand, also with the development of the transport network, especially connection of Port of Koper, which is relatively important for Central Europe, and also for all the way to southern and parts of central Poland, whereas this initiative offers a possibility to strengthen the connections, especially transport, not only political, also economic relations between the Baltic regions and the Adriatic regions, on one hand. Also, we were involved in some talks with Bulgarian and Romanian representatives in this initiative, also in relations towards the Black Sea. Now this relation is a little bit hindered because of the war in Ukraine, but nevertheless it is very important because both countries like Romania and Bulgaria offer some possibilities of overbridging the gap now in the energy system. I would like to remind our viewers that Slovenia was hosting the fourth initiative in Slovenia in 2019. And interestingly, this was, of course, before pandemic. But interestingly, the main topic at that time was how to lower the dependency on gas and also oil from the Russian Federation. And one of the main goals of that time President Borut Pahor was to strengthen the cooperation between among Central European countries and leaders of these countries, and this is also the most important task today. However, after the COVID crisis and after the war in Ukraine started in 1 year ago, a completely new perspective and new actually the urge for developing such a little bit stronger and more cohesive part of Europe is also important as regards the European outer foreign policy, so to say, and also the economic aspirations of each of these countries, which are now part of this initiative. For example, we were discussing the possibility how to engage more into the creating the foreign policy, because now many countries of this region are relatively small in let's say in population terms. Sometimes also the economies are small and sometimes very specialized. And in this way, the problem of representation of the needs of this special area, which is somehow the region in between Europe, as it is referred sometimes in the political geography. This is important because otherwise, more or less, the biggest countries of the EU nowadays, of course, France and Germany, play the most important role. Maybe in a way also Poland, but other countries are less represented in the decision-making process. And this initiative is very important also from the point of view of political geography and geopolitics in the wider sense, because if we take a look at the map, we can see that actually the Adriatic Basin, Baltic area, and Black Sea, it is the biggest portion of the EU, and it's very important to release some pressure from the two main countries of today's EU also to others. And here, this initiative is very important.
Thank you very much, Damir. I think it's super interesting, and it's super interesting that you mentioned that France, Germany, and also Poland, let's say, have the biggest voice. But from my Polish perspective, I wouldn't say that Poland has such a big voice. And very often, if you ask, just normal society, they would say that Poland is very often overlooked in the European Union's decision-making process. But I'm happy that we're being perceived a little bit different abroad. So thank you very much. And Catalin, so Romania is one of the most engaged countries within the 3Cs initiative, and also Romania will be hosting the next 3Cs summit that will take place this year. So could you tell me about the previous Romanian involvement and also its priorities in this format?
Mhm. Thank you very much. First of all, thank you for the invitation to participate in the debate you organized today to promote a better understanding of the importance of multi-level regional cooperation within the 3C platform, 3C initiatives. To understand to your to answer to your question, I would like to say that my country it's one of the most important and involved regional actors, and NATO and the European Union partners committed to the objectives assumed within the framework of the two organizations, the NATO and European Union. As you well know, in the last 30 years, Romania has evolved a lot through individual and joint action at the international level. The 3Cs initiative, it's one of the most recent external cooperation actions that Romanian authorities have undertaken. So the 3Cs initiative contributes to fulfilling the strategic objectives of deepening Euro-Atlantic integration essential for international development and strengthening the international position of its members. In my view, this form of in-depth cooperation has generated corridor of security and prosperity from the Adriatic Sea to the Black Sea and further to the Baltic Sea. Romania, it's one of the net beneficiaries of the partnerships generated by this platform, as you said, but also an initiator of projects aimed to reducing the gap between the three regions and contributing to interconnectivity in various strategic areas such as energy, transport, telecommunication, or civil protections. So I can say that those strategic areas are the most important and the most relevant areas that Romania pay attention.
Thank you very much. I would say that Romania is a very important partner for Poland, especially now, as you said, also in a case of security in the region. Thank you. So, Damir, you mentioned that the Three Seas initiative is not very vivid topic in the public debate, but how is the Three Seas initiative format perceived by Slovenian government?
I think that with the new developments, geopolitical developments, this initiative gains more ground, and especially now with the important involvement of the American institutions, also very important because I think that investments in the wide area, in many areas of economic development is necessary, and as far as investment from these countries, which are now part of the initiative, is too low, and the new fresh investments are really needed and very important. For example, if we want to connect, my colleague from Romania, Catalin, already mentioned this security belt. This is also very important because now we have free passage through the EU member states from North Adriatic to the Black Sea. For example, ports of Constanța and Koper are now very easily connected and accessible. But on the other hand, the quality of railway network is problematic still in various sections, and this could be now the possibility of bigger investment, not only as our states will invest, for example, like state companies, but also the foreign investments, especially from the USA, because also for the United States, the strengthening of this initiative is strategically important in the security sense and also other senses. For example, very important is secure gateway from northern Adriatic ports to Baltic and to Black Sea. And this is not only important for as regards the railway network, it's also important of the capacity of ports, of the resources of fresh water. For example, we have now relatively heightened debate on the problem of sewage channels over very important reservoir of ground potable drinking water. So this is also critical infrastructure, as for example railways. And I think this strengthening ties of member states of Three Seas initiative is very important because we can then mutually exchange experiences and mutually develop the best possible connections to achieve the quickest communication. Not only in the sense of, I don't know, 4G or 5G telecommunications, which is also very important, and accessible and widely accessible internet, high-speed internet for many, for also the remote regions, let's say in Carpathians or in mountain areas of Alps and so on. But also other types of communications. For example, creating common ideas and proposals, and through this forum, the voice of these countries would be more easily heard, and this would then also allow for creating the same stance on different issues. And in this way, also, as we already mentioned, our voice, also the voice of Poland, Slovenia, Romania, and other members would be heard. And it should be then also involved.
Yes, I completely agree with you. I'm always saying that as separate actors, we will not be able, to achieve as much as we can do as a bigger group of countries. Thank you very much. And Catalin, so how is the Three Seas initiative perceived in Romania? I believe that it's very important for the political elites, but what about the society? Is it more visible than in Slovenia? How does it look like?
No, actually, the situation it's the same in Romania. The initiative is very important for the political elites, but we have a lot. We have a lack of understanding how this initiative works at the parliamentary level. For example, our president, Mr. Iohannis, is very, very active in promoting the Romanians' interest into this kind of cooperation, into this platform. But the situation it's pretty the same as in Slovenia, and I think that in Poland, the civil society and the people doesn't know how to react when they find some aspects about the Trishi initiative. So yeah, it's I can say that it's very elitist cooperation program in Romania.
Thank you very much. So from Polish perspective, I would say that since the war in Ukraine started, the topic became more heard. I mean, people are talking about it. However, still, like on a very normal level, it's not very visible. For political elites, it's super important. However, some years ago, there were also some voices saying that Three Seas initiative is something like competition to the European Union. And it was also the disinformation that it's not, true. However, that's how the initiative was understood in the beginning. Yeah. I already mentioned that Ukraine was offered the status of a Three Seas partner participant. And I have a question to you, Damir. So will closer relations with Ukraine weaken or strengthen the Three Seas initiative? What do you think?
Well, this is a very difficult question. We still don't know when this war is going to end. We all hope as soon as possible. But in this time, the most important is help to Ukrainian people. Probably more important than to connecting Ukraine with this initiative. Not because of the need. There is absolutely a great opportunity also to have Ukraine because of the long coast on the Black Sea and some very important ports like Odessa, Mariupol, and so on. Also Nikolaev and in a way also Kherson, but also in the way that, as you mentioned, very important it is to acknowledge that when sometimes from certain political views we are perceived as separate organization which is competitor to the EU, but I don't think so, because at the moment only the EU member states are part of this initiative, and these EU member states are those who are hurt the least in the EU. So I think it's this initiative is very important to sustain also into the future, and to for the member states of these which are now parts of initiative to give more and more floor to creating podium for common decisions. For example, when there is I don't know bilateral talks between, I don't know, Poland and Germany or Poland and France, less could be done than when, for example, Central and Eastern European countries come with the common standing point for this particular issue. So at the moment, I don't see a very big need to include Ukraine into this initiative. I think this initiative needs first to strengthen their own goals and to profile more transparently also its added value for the European Union. For example, the bilateral could become trilateral. So that means beside the French or and German, let's say, negotiate as a negotiators, there could be one representative for whole region which is covered by this initiative, and we can, for example, organize it via rotating system. For example, half a year representative from one member state of these of this initiative, and with this rotation we can also there are many possibilities, but the most important thing is that this is a platform for achieving common goals, and without this connection it is much heavier, and the gap in the development between Eastern and Western part of the EU will get bigger, and this is not our goal. Then we will have the problem of the so-called Europe's of two speeds, and this is one way to prevent it.
Yeah. Thank you, Damir. And Katalin, do you have similar opinion on the issue, that we should maybe firstly focus on our own problems and work on them as an initiative, and after focus on different matters? What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree with Damir, but the problem in Romania is that Ukraine is one of the most important partner in the region when we talk about security, because we have a very large border with Ukraine. But if I could link the question to the importance of Three Seas initiative, I can tell you that the clearest project for Romania, as my colleague said, and for which there is already a potential of foundings, it's Via Carpathia. This highway will connect, as you know, the Baltic Sea from Gdansk in Poland to Thessaloniki in Greece, and having a series of arms, and one of them will go to Constanța, to a deeper port of the Black Sea. Within the analysis of intermodal transfer chain, Romania it's connected with attracting quick and direct investments in the transport infrastructure. So that in the coming years, direct south-east north route is ensuring to facilitate the rapid and strategic transport of goods, people, and technique. But we can realize this project within with Ukraine and the Republic of Moldova. So a vital project for Romania, but also for Poland and for Republic of Moldova and Ukraine. It's represented by the creation of connections between the inland waters in the region, the most urgent being the connection of the Vistula river with the Danube through the Prut river. So, in this sense, in Romania, a group of businessmen from the northeast region, that part a region from the intersection of Romania with the Republic of Moldova and Ukraine, thought that in order to solve the problem of transportation of goods to the Danube, they started to prospect this possibility, and why not the possibility of involve Ukraine in the 3C initiative.
Thank you very much, Katalin. So the next summit of 3Cs initiative will be once again hosted by Romania. The third one was hosted in Bucharest, and the leaders will meet once again in the capital of Romania. Damir, what do you expect from this summit? Do we see any key decisions?
Well, I certainly hope that there will be a great possibility of opening the burning issues. Also, we mentioned Ukraine, but we forgot about Moldova. Of course, Romania is vitally involved in this northern area of former Bessarabia and region of Moldavia also, and it's the most important for them, for Romania. But of course, now we have the possibility to open this issue, and of course to strengthen ties and to create so-called to-do list. What shall we? What do we need to achieve in a very relatively short period of time? Because there was a lot of waiting, and the investment into the infrastructure is very problematic. We have a transport network, but the problem is that it is very overloaded. For example, in Slovenia, only from one port, there is a 60% of whole cargo goes into, for example, into the Central European parts, mostly Hungary, Slovakia, Czech Republic, and southern Poland. Also to Austria and to Bavaria, for example. But here, with this initiative, where Austria is included, we have now at the next summit possibility to negotiate how, to which way we could work out the connection with Bavaria. And also there are very important role of the airports, not only ports and railways, but also airports. The growing importance of a special type of cargo for the air transport is also important, and we need also to invest more into the logistic centers in multimodality between ports, railway, highways, and airports. So I think that there is a lot of things to be done, and I very much hope that this will not end as a elitistic summit, but also with involvement of people from various fields, not only economy, not only investors, only also the, I don't know, research community and so on, to bring forth projects, research projects on the ways how to strengthen this association, which is very, very important, more than we can explain at this moment, especially also as regards stability. For example, now we have war in Ukraine. We cannot be 100% sure that the war will stay there. And if we strengthen this initiative, the whole security structure of Europe will be better and stronger, and hopefully will bring this war to an end sooner.
I completely agree. And Katalin, what do you expect from the upcoming summit?
It's very difficult to predict what will happen, but of course, Romania has a strategic key interest in some geostrategic and geopolitical areas such as energy, transport, or telecommunication. Like many other states in the region, against the backdrop of intensive national industrial development from the period before 1990, Romania was subject to a great pressure of development and energy interconnectivity, and this is a huge problem of our days. The development vision of the strategy sector, it's based mostly on the concept of Romanians' energy independence, and at the moment, one of the most important thing is that on the independence of the European Union from the Russian energy source, Romania is a leader in creating more partnerships across the world. So. In a consolidated market system, the state has the essential role of referee and regulator of markets. In this sense, a transparent, coherent, fair, and why not stable legislative and regulatory framework it's necessary at the national and regional levels. And I hope that Romania will be able to impose such a subject on the official agenda. Those, in order to be able to guarantee the success of the interconnectivity and energy independence process, I think Romania aims to find support to make possible an efficient correlation between the investment needs in the region as well as the specificities of climatological and geopolitical conditions of Romania and of the region, because it's very important to have a sustainable development of energy sector. Therefore, transforming the energy system requires a large volume of investments and coordinated multi-year planning and efficient use of funds for financing the projects are mandatory conditions in this moment. Romania's plan in this field is to find financial support and interest within the platform, and why not to generate the modernization of the energy sector in the region. Another important strategic aspects for my country is the transportation and the transport infrastructure. Transport development closely followed world economic development, which required a continuous increase in the volume of transported goods. This fact led to a rise in the number of roads, freight vehicles, additional costs, pollution, accidents, and I don't know, adverse social effects. From the beginning, my country has been extremely interested in how regional development projects can contribute to the infrastructure reform and how can develop the roads, maritime, and river infrastructure, as my colleague said. Among the countries of Central and Eastern Europe, Romania is the second country, both in the terms of population and territory. And the need to lay the foundations of regional intermodal transport has become acute. I think that for Poland and for Slovenia too. Unfortunately, Romania suffers enormously in this regard. The lack of infrastructure, or rather its development, putting Romania in a position to have a negative economic balance, or a negative economic cooperation plan that would allow a greater volume of goods to cross the country. Currently, I will be very brief. Currently, the simple length of railway lines in operation, it's over 10,000 kilometers, of which 4,000 kilometers are electrified. And the size of the public road network, which includes highways, European national roads, and main and secondary national roads, it's approximately 87,000 kilometers. The clearest project for Romania, as I mentioned, it's Via Carpathia. So I think and I expect Romania to have an important voice to promote this kind of project. And also 5G telecommunication system, the fifth generation of mobile communication, has benefits from a multitude of analyses, trials, demonstrations, tests, and early commercial launches in Romania, including tests in early 2017. Um, the existent and the statements about the new technology, it's on the point of its potential and performance. So telecommunications intercommunity projects in the region would generate a huge economic and strategic potential for our country. So I think Romania will adopt some strategic position about 5G telecommunication, because this would translate into developing and providing sufficient spectrum resources for the smooth operation of communication 5G services in radio frequency bands favored for this kind of telecommunication in Europe, in our region.
Thank you very much. I completely agree, and I think especially for Poland, the biggest challenge would be the modernization of energy sector with our current capabilities. So now let's move to the questions from audience. I can see some of them, and the first one is: what would you specifically mention as Slovenia's connection to V4 in regards mutual goals with the member countries? Maybe it's not directly connected to the three Cs, but it's connected to the regional cooperation.
Yeah, the most important is certainly the railway transport. Many factories producing from cars to heavy industry and so on from V4 countries are heavily dependent on the port of Koper. Also, as now with as electrification was mentioned, it is very important, and it is also possible to deal with this question on the platform of 3Cs initiative. For example, Slovenia has more than 50% of electrified railways, and the main railway is electrified from port of Koper to Austria, Croatia, or Hungary. But there is still the type of electrification is 3 kilovolt direct current. So there is very good possibilities now to come together and to find the solutions. For example, Croatia also changed the electrification on the main grid to the electrification as in Slovakia, Hungary, and Czech Republic, which is 25 kilovolt alternative current, which enables recuperation of energy. And with the introduction of this recuperation, the energy dependency would lower significantly. For example, where the railway system has high relief energy, like in Slovenia, from the seaside across hills to the Pannonian Basin, there is a lot of possibilities to recuperate energy. And also, for example, in Romania with the crossing Carpathian range. And this is very important because the whole amount of energy usage is not that big when we are talking about pollution, for example, is electrified railways are absolutely better. But from the production point of view, it is very important to get as much as possible of this recuperation. And if there is a relief energy, so-called, then we can recuperate. And this initiative, for example, the connection across the bigger high ranges throughout all countries enables huge percentage of recuperation. In some assessments, about 80% of energy could be recuperated with the now modernized engines for railway, for the carts and all compositions. This is one thing, and the other thing is this is more historically speaking. The connection with V4 was important because Slovenia was the most economically developed part of former Yugoslavia, and with the rapid development of V4 countries, Slovenia started to lose some advantage. And that's why there were initiatives 15 years ago, especially with the big crisis in 2008. The political leadership tended to connect more with the V4 countries in order to find better solution of how to deal with this crisis at that time. But nowadays, V4 is not that important for Slovenia. But there is also another opinion. V4 is also part in this initiative, and it's even more important to have connection from Baltic Sea to Black Sea, including Romania. Without Romania, there is no possibility to access Bulgaria. And that's why also for Slovenia, relations with Romania are also important, very important. And at the moment, we don't have that high, this economic exchange as, for example, with Austria, Hungary, Slovakia, Czech Republic, and also Poland, apart, of course, of Germany, which is the biggest industrial and economic partner to Slovenia.
Thank you very much, Damir. And I have very last question to you, Katalin. I mean, not me, but one of our viewers. Does China have any role to play in the Three Seas initiative? We didn't mention China too much, but maybe you have an opinion on that.
Oh yeah, sure. I think that China is a very important and strategic players in the international arena. But in Romania, we have a decision, we have a law actually that prohibit any kind of strategic partnerships with China regarding the construction of infrastructure,
Oh,
telecommunication
wow.
infrastructure. Yeah, even if the Ministry of Transport decided to accord the contract to a Chinese company last month, we have a big scandal here in Romania regarding this problem. But yeah, we have decided to reduce the Chinese influence in the Romanian strategic sectors. So I expect that we will have a common position, a common legislation at the regional level to reduce the Chinese involvement and um, the Chinese the Chinese involvement and the Chinese politics in our countries. So the Chinese influence, it's a very it's a very strategic position. They have a very strategic position in this in this part of Europe, but I expect that we will succeed to correlate our position to ban the Chinese influence.
Thank you very much. That is very well said, and it's also very interesting. I didn't know about it. Many thanks to our guests. Thank you very much for joining us today, and thanks to our Slovenian and Romanian partners. Just so you know, the event will be available on our Facebook, YouTube channel, and at our web pages. So to be sure to share today's event with those who might be interested. Thank you so much once again for joining us today, and see you next time.
See you. You're welcome.
Thank
See
you.
you.